I am Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and I am joined by my friend, but also special guest Haevyn.
Hey everybody!
And we decided to kind of do like a collab review of season 3 of Netflix's You, because I feel like we have a lot of the same sentiments.
I think we do.
So, what was your like thought process with regards to like the basic plot of season 3?
I mean, I liked it because it was chaotic, so it was a lot of entertainment. But realistically, one character is very, very stupid, like extremely, extremely stupid. So I mean, I enjoyed it though. I like Joe. I'm probably like in the minority with that.
I mean, granted, Joe's a bit crazy. I want to say he's crazy, but I felt like he was really trying to redeem himself. Like,
yes, he wanted to be a better person.
Oh my god, I feel like, sorry guys, you're hearing like New York City stuff happening. But yeah, I felt like he was trying to redeem himself. It was like, I do think I thought at one point, I guess since you mentioned him, but like when he was saying he thought he had mommy issues. I'm like, yes, bro, you definitely have mommy issues.
It took him a long time to figure that one out.
Like he said that, and then he still went for the really weird obsessive part with the librarian. Her name was Marion. So I was just like, Joe, you were so close. You were so close to like
almost had it.
That you know you have some issues you probably need to work through. Mm-hmm. But what was your like opinion on like the side characters? You know, you have the neighbors, Theo, that the couple, the influence. What were your thoughts about all of those side characters?
I did not like Theo at all. I didn't like him, but I understand he's still young, so he don't really know how to go about his emotions and feelings and everything. But I didn't like him. I didn't like Sherry and Carrie at first. You know, at the end when they like showed like real emotion when they was in the box, then I liked them because I'm like, okay, it's kind of falling apart, but they still care for each other and everything. I don't like Love's mother. I don't like who else was there? Of course, the librarian's ex. He was big trash, like big trash. But yeah, the side characters they did a good job, I guess, developing them. So they, like, I either liked them or didn't like them. It wasn't anyone I was like indifferent to, you know. So I think they did a good job developing the characters.
You know, I didn't really like Theo either, and I guess to an extent I got the fact that he was supposed to be college age and he didn't really have like the best relationship with his dad, and that was very obvious. But I felt like, one, he was way too pushy.
Very.
And I'm like, okay, you're old enough to know not to be this pushy. He was very pushy. And I felt like even with his like really weird relationship with Love, it was times I'm just like, so we're just gonna ignore that he's maybe not even 20 yet. Like, I don't know if they said, maybe I missed the part where they said how old he was, but I'm like,
he's 19.
Okay, so yeah, he's not even 20 yet. So, and why I guess he's an adult, I'm a little funny about any like grown ass person like going after somebody, because clearly he has a lot of maturity. I feel like in a way he took some advantage, but also like she like, you know, like because he seemed like, oh, she's listening to me or whatever the case may be, and so he took advantage of that. But I hated the mom too. You know what? Even at the end with Sherry, and I did not like them. They irritated me so much. And I'm like, you was like a judgmental mom, and I hate judgmental moms because I'm like, listen, we all like make mistakes or whatever, and we all don't necessarily parent the same way. But I'm like, sis, you are like worried more about your blogs and shit, and what about kids? Like, you don't seem to respect kids. Like, mom, you got twins. And you don't even, I don't know. I did, and even if I did appreciate that they like, because she, I guess, with reference to what she said to Love at that little retreat thing they were at, where she was like, she made herself fall in love with her husband, which is a very interesting, I guess, look at it. Like, she was going to find the love, so she kind of forced it to happen. So I was like, okay, from that point to at the end when they was kind of like really seeing each other, I was like, okay, that was a nice little circle. Like that maybe, you know, you saw a lot more of him than you originally thought you did. But I still did not like them. I was like, you know what, I'm kind of glad, because love crazy ass. She's crazy. I'm kind of glad that they didn't die, because I didn't think they necessarily needed to. And I felt like the only reason why it happened is because Love was keeping souvenirs apparently. And that annoyed me. So I just, I don't know, even the situation with her mom and baby in the front seat at the drive-thru, and I was just like, if any black girl brother had their baby in the front seat, like, I'll give you $200 for the light, and clearly this person is drunk. That would have been such an ACS case or like a cop case. How did Sis get to drive to the vineyard and burn shit down, and she didn't get not a call, nothing happened to her? And then like even at the end when he was like she tried to fight for custody, I'm like she had an option to fight. Like hell. Like this could not have flew with any woman of color if they pulled that off. And I'm like, this is definitely some privilege right now because she was all drunk, having that poor baby in the front seat, like he wasn't like a little baby. Like that really annoyed me. So that was just I don't know. I felt like the side character. I mean, the dad feels bad. I don't know. I felt like I was okay with him by the very end, like when he like the very last episode when he like caught Theo out of the hospital and he seemed like he was like laughing. I'm like, so it took you a whole season to like show some kind of emotion outside of sad, distant, and angry. Because those are the emotions I got throughout the whole season for him. It's just like he seems so lost in things.
He was like obsessed. Like I don't understand because the story Joe and Love came up with Gilly having an affair with Natalie, and then he, you know, it made sense. So I don't understand why the husband was still like, no, someone else did this. I'm like, why would you think that? There was a no. It kind of made sense. There was no evidence pointing to anybody else until you decided to look at every camera in town. It was just, some movies have somebody who's just like way too smart for their own good. And I'm like, realistically, would that have been the case? But I guess for TV, they have to do stuff like that. So.
I mean, I know he was supposed to be like a tech guy or something. They said he was a tech guy. So I guess he knew how to do that stuff. But I don't know. I felt like the story was believable to an extent. But it was also like, of all the men in the town, this guy. And I think that's what it was to me. And I'm like, I might have questioned it a little bit. Like,
he was
really, like, you see her husband to him. Like, but even like personality-wise, like, let's say if you want to take, like, maybe the personality that could have made that believable, like the affair, his personality was kind of annoying. Like, when he was yapping, you know, I didn't really feel bad about him dying either. Because once he was like, the child got measles, he was just like, but you know, vaccines. And I'm like, my guy, the baby was in the hospital. I get
he didn't care at all.
But this child dead ass was in the hospital and could have died. Like, his is a whole big thing now. And I'm like, you know, and that was probably the time I felt like, you know what, Love, you kind of okay. Like, I wouldn't do that. That's a bit extreme. But I didn't feel bad for him either. I didn't feel bad.
No. To me, that was maybe the only, all right, that's kind of understandable because she's very impulsive. And he didn't give a shit. Like, he didn't have no remorse for what happened to the baby. He was just like, but I did your kid a favor because now they got natural immunity. And I was like, that's not, no mother wants to hear that when their baby was almost dead in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But I get what you're saying. It's not as believable because why would she date that guy compared to her husband? So, I mean, I get that. Maybe that's what he was going off of. Like, my wife would never do this, you know? But,
yeah, that's I was looking at. I was like, because a lot of the other men they kind of showed us from the area they lived in. I'm like, there are some better options in that case. Like, if you're gonna cheat,
big time,
he would probably be the last one you cheat with. So I was like, that I can maybe understand. Like, if he was like, would she? I still think he was doing the most as far as everybody else. Like, Love and Joe clearly have a past. So I guess it's not too far off that he was suspicious, considering they did say they saw her last. And I get that part, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of the characters just like irritated me. Even like the way they were with the kids. And I guess they were rich. I guess they're supposed to be an area full of money. But I'm just like, y'all are so pretentious. And I'm like, little kids are kids. You have to kind of let them be kids. And like, oh, we don't eat cupcakes and we don't eat fruit. I'm like, you don't eat fruit. Like, Why?
Yeah.
Like, I get like there's sugars in it, but that's better than like garbage. Like,
True. They definitely did well being rich assholes. Like they did that well.
So I guess we can kind of break down how we feel about Miss Love, because I
this woman, okay, so I saw people on Twitter saying like, what do you think her zodiac signs would be and everything? And one person said they think she has Scorpio energy, and I'm like, it's no way. She's too impulsive. You know, water signs kind of like think and plan shit out. I'm like, nah. Love, every problem of the season was because of her. Like, she killed Natalie. If she didn't kill Natalie, there would not have been that domino effect. And she killed her because she was jealous. Like, normal people just leave, right? File for divorce. Take the children, even though I don't say, I don't like that. But don't kill. And then you had Joe cover up I can't. I don't like her. I don't like nothing about that woman. She's not redeemable as a character at all to me. She's a hypocrite. At the table, she's talking about, oh, I killed for you. No, you killed because you wanted to keep him, even though you know he wasn't happy. What kind of psychopath? I don't want to rant too crazy, but like, oh my gosh.
No, I feel like it's okay though, because she really like the whole. So my thing was, I'm thinking how season 2 ended, and she was like, "Okay, I'm pregnant. We get married." So this happened only because you wanted to keep a baby. You wanted to be a wife all of a sudden. So I'm like, okay, this only happened you guys moving to this town because you both were engaging in some crazy shit in season 2. Because both of them were killing people in season 2. So Joe, clearly, it was obvious by the time he realized, that he bit up a little more than he chewed when he fell for you at the time. That, she's actually crazy. She's really crazy. And my issue with that was, it was like the double standards that she was having. So it's like, okay, you're jealous of Natalie, yet it's like you were trying to have some threesomes. You sitting there talking about let's have an open relationship just so you can try to cheat with Theo and do so where it won't feel so guilty feeling. You sitting here getting mad and you killed this boy's like stepmom. So like you killed the stepmom and then had the audacity. Not only do you bring the guy like the husband some treats, but then you're sleeping with the son. So I'm like, you really just gave no shit at all.
She's terrible.
And then it was killing me, like, every time she did something really fucked up, she, like, turned around on him. Am I, like, a good wife? And I'm like, no, not really. Like,
no, not at all.
Like, you're a terrible wife. And then even when she was talking to, Marianne, and, like, she was like, oh, she realized that he loved her or liked her. So I don't know, Joe, I can't really say Joe loves anybody because he gets too obsessive for me to feel like that's
too fast.
But, like, she was getting I'm like, sis, you have all types of stuff happening with Theo. He was closing up the bakery where you clearly had your little underground chamber down there, which is, like, he could have found, he wound up finding it. But it's, like, you were so careless about it.
Extremely.
So, and then you were keeping things that Joe told you to get rid of, because that's what got them caught by Sherry and them. That's what got her caught. She was keeping shit. So it's like, this man had to, like, bury your body for you because you killed Natalie. They didn't help you come up with an alibi for your behavior. And then when you killed the other man, and why I understood to an extent why you were pissed about it being involved, because I was kind of pissed when he said the nonsense. I was. I'm not going to kill somebody, but he probably would have got all types cursed out, personally. But then, so now Joe's going to help you find a solution for this. And then it's like, you know that there's cameras, and you know that this man is looking at you guys, but I'm going to still sleep with the son anyway, knowing that this could put me in some shit. And then even with when she was about to kill Marianne and the daughter was there, and then she was sitting here like, I'm like, sis, you literally said to your Sherry that you didn't even love Joe like that. He wasn't your soulmate.
She's like the worst character in the world. Because I'm like, you don't love the man like that. You think you're a wonderful wife, but you're not. You're sleeping with a 19-year-old. You killed his stepmother. You almost killed the Gilly dude. You was so loud because why is she even jealous that she thought Joe was thinking about someone else during the threesome? And that's what made her run downstairs and say she killed Natalie very loud, right? Like, what's wrong with you? Why do you care? You got this other man on you. You agreed to this. Who cares if he's thinking about somebody else? Like, she's a clown, bro. Like, she's a big clown. She get me so tight.
I don't know. I felt like Joe was bad, but I was like, no, he really didn't understood what he got himself into with her. She was crazy. And if you have a mom, I'm assuming they implied the mom always cleaned up stuff for them. So God knows he's been killed before this. Because there's no way when she met Joe, that was killing him for the first time. There's no way. She was way too a pro at it.
Right.
I'm ready to believe that was the very first time she killed somebody. She's probably killed somebody before Joe met her. And her mom probably figured out they got money, let's cover it up.
They said she killed her first husband by accident. She gave him that stuff to paralyze him, but she gave him too much and it killed him. So it's like but she said her plan was to just paralyze them so they can talk. If you have to paralyze somebody to talk to you, that conversation is not worth it. Like, her logic is crazy.
That is crazy logic. It's like, oh, I have a conversation, but before we have this conversation, let me drug you. So if you're paralyzed, you can't even talk back. You can't even have a response to what I need to say. So is that a conversation if the person can't move, express any emotions, or even have anything left to say to you because they are just kind of forced to listen? I just feel like, I don't know, she was insane. And I feel like that, like you said, Joe is crazy because like his level of obsession, like I'm not killing nobody. I can have a crush. I am not killing somebody's big father, big mother, or whatever the case may be. Like that, no, not doing that. I might be like, well, this kind of sucks. Like, well, that sucks, the situation, but I'm not committing a murder. So I feel like she was a different level, and it was just like the double standards. I'm like, sis, you had all types. You had a whole affair, because that's what that was. You was buying him Ubers and stuff, and all types of stuff. And then, are you trying to imply something? And I'm like, sis, that's what you're doing, though. Not any different if you really was being a friend and like, he needed a ride home, and you just helped out, but you were sleeping with him. So when she said that and made Joe Joe was wrong to question, I'm like, but that's exactly what you're doing. You're gaslighting right now. It's total gaslighting.
She's the biggest gaslighter I think I've ever seen on TV. It's like, you mad at him for wanting to be with Natalie, but you slept with the boy, right? Like, you slept with him. At least Joe, when he decided to fall for Marion, he was planning to leave, right? Love was never even planning to leave. She just was like, I'm just gonna sleep with this kid and make Joe feel bad about Natalie. Like, what's wrong with you? This is the type of stuff men do. Like, I'm telling you, I don't understand. Like, it made no sense to me at all.
Yeah,
Joe's crazy. Like, I'm not saying he's not crazy, but he never really. He killed to kind of help in his own way. It's still wrong. I don't know anybody be like, oh, you no, it's wrong. But he killed to help in a way where Love was just killing to be selfish. Like, oh, I don't want you to be with her, so I'm gonna kill her. Joe was like, I'm gonna kill your boyfriend because he's trash, and I'm gonna treat you better. You know what I mean? Like, it's still horrible, but I don't know, man.
I get what you mean. No, I get what you mean, because yes, I feel like even from season 1 with Beck, the boyfriend was a piece of shit. That DJ guy, whatever he was a piece of shit. Peach was a piece of shit. Like, she was a terrible friend. And so I get, like, you trying to, like, Bex was completely oblivious to, I'm like, you can't be this, like, oblivious to, like, stuff happening. I was like, you can be nice because I understand that. But you was nice. Right. I'm like, okay, you cannot be this naive, sis. Like, they ain't done, and I'm kind enough, but come on. And so he was helping her in that extent, but as soon as she found out, and then it was like, okay, well, now I got to get rid of her. So it was like those type of situations where it's like, that's a bit of like, get them, instead of like, maybe be better and make sure the person is find out. So you got too comfortable, and look what happened. It fell apart once you got comfortable. And so even when Love was like, he don't love you to Mary, and he did the same thing to me, and I'm like, well, technically he did do some stuff, but you were the one who killed the girl from the very first season when they implied that he kind of stalked this girl too. Exactly. You killed her. That was you. And he was like, oh, we can be together. And it's like, if you really didn't want to be with her like that, and it was just like a control thing, then say that and then do whatever. I felt like it was like, yeah, I can do all kinds of stuff, and it's perfectly fine, but you can't. And you just, and it was just, I'm gonna save my marriage, and I'm like,
you don't have a marriage, bro. He only married you because you was pregnant. He was about to kill her. And then why would you want to be with this man and he was about to kill you? She really needs therapy. Like, she needs therapy.
I feel like nice to say, because if you haven't, spoiler, but I'm glad it would happen by the end of that happened. I was so happy. I was like, you know what, thank you, writers, because if she would have made, if they would have been any more shenanigans in the next season, I would have been done. I would have stopped watching the show after that, because she was so irritating. And I'm like, you can't be like, every time she says something else ridiculous, and I'm like, you're joking. Like, then you dead said this was like, you missed this? Like, you dead ass. Like, you confused. That's why. She wanted to divorce. You know, she was like, oh, well, just say. And then he said divorce. And you're like, okay. And like, okay, now I'm going to paralyze your ass. And I'm like, well, you just told him to tell you. He told you. You make all the stereotypes they say about crazy women. Like, if you're like, oh, really crazy, you just made that look real. Like, women don't act like this. Like, most sane women don't act like that. So
exactly.
She really irritated my soul. Like I said, I was okay with Sherry making it and her husband making it to the end. Mm-hmm. I just really liked them. I was like, okay, you guys look at each other and like in a better light. But the fact that you guys spun that shit to all of a sudden, like, you guys did some really weird marriage counseling, I'm like, what? And why I get the whole mom boss and being able to kind of pull off stuff to make it profitable, and I get, like, make your coins, you know, get the bag, I get those parts. I was so, like, once again, where are your kids? Like,
yeah, I don't know
you're a great mom blog, and yet I don't see you with your children. It's such an odd thing. I think we saw them like maybe once. I could be lying about that. I don't recall. It's just like, how you have a blog about being a mom and you're sitting here giving kids, and I never see you with your kid, and I feel like that bothers me. So I feel like, I don't know, even that, and then she was just kind of, I don't like flaky people. She was very flaky. And
yeah, she was flaky.
That will quickly turn on you, and I'm like, that's the kind of friend that you really want to, they'll talk about you like when you leave.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if those two. I wonder if they'll show up in the next season somehow, because they were alive, and maybe they'll be better characters this time. But I mean,
they were cards and stuff and giving these like lessons about their marriage, their weird marriage counseling, even though they was legit. You know, like they did. You guys was legit, like in there, locked up. It wasn't like you guys did some really weird out of the box technique,
right? But they had to spin it, you know.
And they split it. And I was surprised though, and they said she kind of like talked about love, but she didn't say that about Joe. And I'm like, Joe kind of had to help attack you guys too because of what Love Dumbass did, and you guys didn't really y'all didn't really slander him like you did Love. They they slandered Love, and then the papers writing it as like, even with him cutting his toes off, I was like,
He did what he needed to do. I couldn't have did that though.
Like, I understood, like, okay, if it seems like you're dead, that makes sense. But I'm like, I don't know if I'm saying cutting up toes so I can just pretend that I died. I want to just like maybe just burn the house down. Like, just like, let's make her look extra and say she chopped me up first. I'm like, oh my god,
something. But that extreme he is like, when he wants something, he'll know how to get it and make it happen. But I think they slandered Love because of the note that Joe wrote as her. How he pretty much said she was behind everything and made Joe go along with it. So he kind of made himself look like the helpless husband. So I mean, he wrote amazingly. I admire the way he makes it happen.
In this case, though, Love deserved it, so I didn't feel bad about her slander or anything. She really annoyed me every episode. Every time a new episode, I'm like, yo.
She got worse and worse as the season went on.
Yeah, and I was just like, I thought she was kind of annoying in season 2, but she was like, I can deal with it to an extent. I was like, once she got married, I was like, if this is what she was doing to your first husband, well, maybe that's why he wanted to leave. Like, this is insane. It's like the level of thinking and just like, again, the hypocrisy and the double standard. This shit damn sure was gaslighting. It was just blatant, like, oh, that's not what happened. Why are you being? I'm like, sis, you cheating. You spending money. You're helping him do all types of stuff and like covering him and all types of like, you didn't give no shit that Joe could have got caught for helping you out because he's helping you.
She's like a big time narcissist, and she displayed all of those elements, man. Like, I'm like, yo, if you liked her in the earliest season, there's no way you liked her in this one. It's impossible. Like, it was nothing about her that would be like, you know what? But I still like her. No. I see men liking her because she's pretty, but as a person, she is the worst.
Yeah, liking her until the person crazy like her. Like, you don't want to be like, let's do it like those. Like, that's crazy. There was nothing redeemable about her this whole season. Nothing redeemable. Because even if you want to say, well, her relationship with her mom was messed up, she was just as shitty. And like, you knew it was, instead of you trying to, okay, let me try to be better because I kind of have a shitty relationship. My mom was like, no, it's fine. Let's
And she want to snap on everybody. I'm just like, this girl, she is not self-aware at all. It was horrible.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like we ranted enough about love. What was your overall? Listen, I was tight. I really was like, yo. In the end episode, I was like, yo, thank you, because y'all was really about to have me write y'all something. Somebody's gonna let to me about why are we doing this for another season? Let's not. So I'm glad they was like, we got y'all, because I was annoyed. So like, what was your like, I guess, final thoughts about the season, like overall?
I think the pacing of the season was really good. I never was bored. You know, I think they didn't waste any type of screen time on like foolishness. Everything that they showed, it moved the story along. So I did like that. And as a whole, as a season, I liked it. I did enjoy it. I think love was like how in wrestling, like the perfect heel. Like she's doing her job, you know, like they got me to really dislike her. And it worked. It made Joe look sympathetic and look like the good guy, which is hard to do, but she was just so crazy and well written that that's what happened. Because like I'm rooting for Joe and he's crazy as shit too. You know? I liked it, and I can't wait to see the next season because I don't know, like I feel like something's gonna happen because he can't be like happily ever after in Paris, you know, like something gotta happen. Or do you think he's gonna get his happy ending?
I don't know, because he said he was still looking for Marianne. He was looking for her, and he was just like, he's gonna look for her. So I'm like, what if let's say she moved some part in the United States? Are you willing to go back there now that you were in two separate states? There were some crimes committed. And since they put your picture like all over, well, I don't know how the news ran in that small town because they implied it was a really small town, but I don't know how you can pull up going back to the States unless they somehow make it where Marianne happened to take the same and like, you know what, I'm gonna just leave the country too. I don't know, like you kind of want to have a happy ending, but you also kind of like you kind of did some fucked up shit too, Joe, like where you get some actual punishment this time, like however they decide to go. Will there be some actual punishment for you? Because it's like you kind of did some shitty things on several seasons now, where it's like you kind of killed a lot of people. Like you're a serial killer kind of status right now. With no real method. I guess I would say his method is if it feels like it could be an issue for somebody I care about, well, I'm kill him kind of thing. Like you have kind of few bodies under your belt, so I don't know if he'll get a happy ending if people sympathize. But but he's like that broken guy. I don't know. I do, like, it wouldn't be, like, I'll be okay, but also I feel like he has to get some kind of punishment. I'm like, nah, you killed
Maybe being married to love was some type of punishment? Because every time he killed after that, well, I'm about to say it was because of her, but no, because he did kill Marianne's ex. So I don't know.
And he was, like, a high profile, because he was a reporter. Like, he was, like, I'm like, he's a high profile killing, and you killed him with no thought, like, even when the lady was like calling him and he didn't turn, so I guess you couldn't see his face. But it's like you was kind of reckless, your little ragged disguise with that hat that hates this disguise. And I'm like, shit, this right in front of the building. It wasn't even like midnight or anything where that might have been possible. Like this was like probably evening, and you was just like, yeah, whatever. He's come home from and I'm like, so I don't know. I feel like even though he was, you know, with Love, I feel like Love might have been the karma for what he did to Beck.
Yeah. Oh, it has to be.
The other lady he fucked before Beck, the one that Love killed, the first girlfriend. So like, clearly, we don't even know how many women he's done this to. Let's be honest, we don't know how many before there was. That if every time you find like one little thing that seems like, oh, they might be interested, you obsess over it. And to the point where you try to find out things, or you try to tune your attitude a bit to like the person. And it's like, that's a bit much to have to like change yourself that much to have somebody like you too. If that's not you, then not falling for you. So I don't know. I feel like, yes, he had some punishment with Love, but also he still did kill again. Like, not the Love one, but that guy, even though he was a douche canoe too, because he was. I don't know. I felt like he's a fucking reporter. Record his ass. Like, nobody believes in recording car. If this person is known for being shady in like corners, fucking record his ass. Like, okay, you one of those who want to like threaten. Okay, keep talking your shit. I'm gonna record this conversation.
Exactly.
He might work in court, but fucking recording will work in court. So fucking record. I don't know why nobody was thinking of some of the conversations that was happening. Why nobody was like, let's just record this shit just in case. Because clearly he was that kind of person that tried to lie in court, and because he was the one that had the better job, and we know that's how that works in courts. And he's white guy, she's black woman. Like, we know how that works.
Right.
Anytime he came there with the shenanigans, she should have been recording his ass.
She should have.
I don't know why she was just like, oh, just leave it alone. And I'm like, no, record his ass. So when he said something I didn't happen, like, well, this is what he does on a regular basis. Like, he's threatening and stuff. That probably would have helped a lot considerably, and maybe Joe wouldn't have went that route. But I felt like it's like, I don't know.
He knows. He's like, if I gotta get rid of somebody, this is what I'm gonna do. But see, hold on. Because at first, Joe tried to get him hooked on drugs again, right? But it didn't work because he was already still taking drugs in his protein shake. So I will give Joe credit. His first thought wasn't to kill him. It was just to like ruin his reputation so he could look bad in court for the next court date. So he was trying to be better, but when his back is up against the wall, he resorts back to his old ways. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's another thing. Like, you know, his butt is still like taking drugs to the point where it wasn't affecting him. You know how much drugs you got to take for that not to happen. But I feel like she should have known that there should have been some things. Like, there's ways to have it. Like, let's check what he's doing at home or check his blood sugar. I don't know. I just thought there were things that could have been done before it got to that level. And I felt like she's supposed to be a smart woman. She was really
a smart guy.
I don't know why she wasn't acting that smart when it came to some of the stuff. I don't know. Like, it was nice. I was like, okay, she's a sister, and I always like to see us, you know, black people and all. But I was just like, I wasn't. I don't know. Like, I felt bad for him, but then also was like, he kind of did some shitty things too. But Love, I was just glad Love got the end that she needed. Cause
she had to go, bro.
I couldn't have done season 4 with her. I'm like, no, y'all really don't want me to watch because I can't. She's too annoying, and it's like ridiculously. It's just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't me. Like, oh, you're the crazy one. It's never me. And I was kind of glad her mom kind of caught her on that. Like, yes, you have issues too. It's not always me. I was like, yeah. She was acting like everybody was out. It was everybody against her, and I'm like, or it's possible everybody's not wrong. Right. Like, everybody can't be wrong about you.
She wasn't self-aware at all. She wanted to be the victim and blame everything she did on someone else. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, you're an adult. Like, you make your own choices. And sad face for her.
So yeah, like you said, I did enjoy the season. There was an interesting, I guess, way it went about. I was like, oh, okay. I really wasn't sure where they were going to go with this, but I was like, okay, you guys kept me watching to the end. I'm glad Love got the end she needed to get. Yes. I'm glad. I don't know if that means the mom might come back in the picture because again she does have money, or if we're here again about they implied that the town probably won't acknowledge anything that happens after this. So we don't see anything about the town. They imply that the town kind of just like whatever once things they move on. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what happens in season 4. But it was solid. I just really disliked her Love shenanigans. She really just irritated my soul. But yeah, otherwise I enjoyed it.
Good. So we agree they put together a good season, and they made us hate her, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah, I didn't really like her in season 2. Like something about her, and I was kind of right. I was like, yo, I knew it when I first started season 2. I was like, I knew something was off for her. It was just something. I just survived. So I was right. I didn't know that she was this crazy, but I was like, there's no way. Like something about her seemed a little off. But first confirmed, I was like, oh no, like sis just needs to be gone because she was doing too much.
Crazier than I thought it. It's like she lost control in this season. Like she was just like she had nothing holding her back. She was gonna kill. I don't know. She's sick.
And even though the baby didn't really like Joe, and I'm like, sometimes it happens, I feel like she wasn't a really good mom either. I felt like it's like, okay, you did stuff, but the fact that Joe was sitting out with the baby at the library and stuff, I was like, at least they showed him actually doing some bonding with the baby. The only time I seen her was like she took the baby somewhere, and then the baby's MIA for a bit, and then you see her with somebody else. I'm like, well, who the fuck got the baby then? Like,
her mother or Joe?
Because I did, at least with Joe, you saw him kind of doing stuff with the baby. Like, you saw him going out. Like, oh, okay, well, at least he's trying. I felt like at some point it was like, did you have a little bit of PTSD? Yeah, like, you were grieving. And I understood that part. Like, you were grieving, and you probably was like, this baby is getting on the nerves. And I understand that. But she also probably needed some therapy. Maybe need to be in, like, mental insane. I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of things that she was not willing to accept, like, as a person. Like, you know, people who just never want to get help or do better.
She's definitely one of those. And see, Joe, I think Joe had the child's best interest at heart. Like, he wanted to be better for the child. And it seemed like she just kept using the child against Joe. Like, oh, you know, like, we got to do this for Henry. And it's like, if you was thinking about that, you wouldn't have made all these crazy, like, impulsive decisions, you know? And even at the end, he decided to give the baby to Dante and his husband because he knew they would take care of the child. I don't think Love would have done that.
Oh no, she definitely wouldn't have done that. I did like that he did that. I'm like, okay, at least you didn't try to go on the run with the child,
right? Because that's not a good life.
You was just like, you know what? I got my own stuff too. I'm gonna like at least I know these people should love you like their own, and it seemed like they did.
Yeah, because I think he said it was hard for them.
I don't know if they're gonna do a time jump, like, to find out what he actually said to him, you know, because he did say he wrote something for him to read when he's old enough to understand. So I'm like, all right, are we gonna do like a weird time jump and all of a sudden your child's gonna be old enough to find something out, or is it gonna be like right after you leave this town? Would it like, or because the fact that they felt the need to tell us he wrote something to the child as well, like, oh, read this, you're old enough to read this. So, you know, and kids are like smarter these days. I feel like, would they wait for the kids to adult, or like this kid is gonna magically be like 10 and might know some stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's real things they could pull off here with the child, or the woman, or seeing how she responds to the fact that, yeah, you're supposed to get.
Right. and she was told that he's the one who killed her ex. So how was she even take that?
He did. But also, she didn't realize that Love was gonna kill her. I don't think she peeped that. I mean, I peeped it. She was like holding her hand, and I'm like, I'm gonna look at anybody funny holding their hands behind their back and we're in the house. Why are you doing that? So, and
also when she insisted I come in, I'm like, I'm not coming to your house, like, because you know,
like, yeah, let's talk about this like women. I'm like, did you talk about it like a woman when you were sleeping with the 19-year-old child? Probably not. Like,
exactly. So I wouldn't have been that woman's house anyway, but you know, it was good that she was able to give her some type of advice, you know, because that and the daughter coming in is what saved her. For sure. So, Love is a psychopath.
Some kind of game, because she was like, well, if I'm supposed to be scared, why are you still here? Because it's like, if she's like telling people that the regular people would be like, oh, I need to go, and she was like, why are you not running? And I'm like, I think she was kind of picking up on it, but it's like, if she would have just looked a little bit to the side or something and stood Joe laying on the floor, maybe it was like, okay, she seems crazy.
I don't know how they didn't see him. When I walk in the house, I'm looking around. I don't know how they didn't see that man on the floor.
Am I the only person that just observe it? That I do observe my surroundings when I walk places. I'm like, I don't know if anybody else, but I do that. Where actually, how does the area looking? Like, if an emergency pops up, how can I get out of here? That's always my first thought when I walk into places. So I don't know how she did. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, it was solid. I don't know what they're gonna do with the next season. But there's a couple of places I think they can go with the story. But yeah, pretty good.
It was good. It was definitely good.
So, do you want to tell the audience what do you have coming up? Where can they find you, etc., etc.?
I also have my own You review coming up, but it's more of a rant. This was well more put together what we did. I was just very angry when I did my video, so I had that coming up. I reviewed Squid Game, and on my blog, I have a few videos coming up, and of course wrestling. You know, my YouTube is my name, so it's HAEBYN REYHNE. On YouTube, I'm on Instagram and Twitter with an underscore in between the first and last name. So yeah, thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for wanting to do this. That was originally I was probably going to rant as well. That's what I tend to do when I I was going to be like, so I just need to rant really quick. So I don't know a few things. But also I do actually by the time this goes live, I guess this will be open. I have a few interviews I just did recently, which was pretty cool. I interviewed. Jesus, who was my last interview? This is bad. I'm slacking right now.
You do so many.
Who did I interview last? No, because I know I interviewed. I did the Dark Knight trilogy. I discussed that, and I did like one of my guests was a wrestler whose gimmick is kind of based off the Joker. So I was like, we're definitely doing this. So we did that. That was pretty cool. And then that's this. Billy Starks. She just made a PWI, both the regular PWI list and the 150 women's list. So she's really cool, really young. So I interviewed her. So check that out. My interview, I guess, with Rain Cruz, who did the announcement for the beginning of SummerSlam. I interviewed her, so check that out. And I have a few more interviews coming up, and I'm on Women's Wrestling Talk, so catch me there. And, you know, you can find me Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram and Twitter with the E's of 3. I just feel like I just did a whole bunch of rambling. I said I'm doing a lot of stuff. So.
No, you're good.
I'm super busy, so. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this. If I see, because I have to review Squid Games as well. So.
Yeah, man, that's so good too. Yeah, I had fun. You know, hopefully we can do this again with another show or something.
Definitely. I feel like there's a few that's supposed to be coming out, so definitely can.
Yes.
All right, guys. Until next time, I will have the links to Haevyn's info in the description. So please give her channel a like, a follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time.
Later.